boy. So, my 21-year-old nephew recently tied the knot with his high school sweetheart. The whole family had mixed feelings about it. We all thought it was super young, but we kept our concerns within private conversations. Outwardly, we showed nothing but enthusiasm. These two had been together since they were 14 and living together in her parents' house since they were 18, so it didn't feel like a rash decision, just a really young one. But we all figured they knew what they were doing. The drama, however, began soon after the engagement. That's when we learned, to our shock, that none of us were invited. The plan apparently was for them to elope in another state and then go on a cruise with the bride's family. This news wasn't broken to us gently. It was just presented as a, "This is what's happening." No excuses, no explanations. I wasn't personally devastated, but I could see the hurt on my sister's face. She'd been dreaming of her only son's wedding for years, and it was obvious she felt rejected. So, in a rare moment of bravery, she decided to talk to her son and express her feelings. And just like that, as if by magic, their tune changed, and suddenly they were thrilled to have us there. I didn't quite understand what had caused this flip, but I wasn't about to miss my nephew's wedding. From the way my niece and his fiancé explained it to me, it sounded like it would be an intimate ceremony in a park, followed by a family dinner. There were no formal invitations and details were scarce, but I figured, hey, they're young and the wedding is super casual. That tracks. The catch? The wedding was out of state. This was a bit confusing since neither of them had any family there, but they explained that they chose this city so they could head off on their honeymoon immediately afterward. It wasn't a big deal for the bride's middle-class family, but we're from a working-class background. I scraped and saved for 6 months to afford the trip, while my sister, who's on disability, took out a payday loan just to be there. We all made sacrifices, but we were determined to show up and show our support. We arrived a week before the wedding, expecting to have some family time, maybe some bonding, but it was surprisingly quiet. Every time we asked about the wedding plans, we got vague responses or were brushed off. Finally, we were told the ceremony would be at 9 a.m., which threw us all for a loop, but we figured, hey, it's their day. The morning of the wedding, we showed up dressed up, excited to see both families and celebrate. But when we arrived, we only found her dad wearing board shorts and a baseball cap. I'd spent ages picking out the perfect dress, so this casual vibe threw me off, but I shrugged it off as a quirk of their laid-back style. Then the bride and groom arrived, fresh from a private photo shoot, and we took a few pictures together. All 4 of us on our side, plus her dad. The lack of her extended family felt odd, but we tried to stay positive. My sister asked her dad what the plan was for afterward, and he shrugged and said, "For you guys? No idea." The officiant showed up late, and the ceremony was over in 3 minutes. A quick, "Do you take this woman to be your wife?" They signed some papers, and that was it. They hopped into an Uber, waving goodbye, saying they'd see us at dinner. We stood there stunned. Only later, after pressing my nephew, did we learn that the wedding we'd attended was just the legal signing. They were planning to hold the actual celebration with her entire extended family on the cruise ship. We were left out of the loop on that little detail. Apparently, her family was invited to the real event, but we were only invited for the legals. It would have been fine if they'd just been upfront about it. Instead, we were left confused, having put time, money, and energy into what we thought was the main event. Today, 2 weeks later, I scrolled through my nephew's wife's social media and saw beautiful photos of her in her gown, surrounded by her family on the cruise ship. She had a few photos from the legal signing we attended, but only 3 or so with us in them. The album was 99% of her family, You'd barely know we were there at all. Despite being flat broke, I'd given them a $200 flight voucher, thinking, hey, it's a wedding, let's make it special. I wasn't expecting a fanfare, but they didn't even acknowledge it. I handed over the card, and I'm not even sure they realized anything was inside. For some context, my sister had first broken the news that we weren't invited. Then, out of the blue, my nephew called, saying they'd changed their minds and that they'd love for us to be there. I thought they genuinely wanted us there, and weren't just giving in. Looking back, maybe I was naive, but I wanted to be there for my only nephew's wedding, so we made it work financially. To those who think I muscled my way into a private affair, I can only say I took the invitation at face value. My sister didn't guilt him into inviting us. She was just open about feeling hurt, which I think is a normal reaction for a mother who's close to her child. If they'd been upfront about the cruise being the actual wedding, it would have saved us a lot of heartbreak, confusion, and financial strain. I wouldn't have gone if I'd thought they didn't want us there. I haven't told my nephew or his wife how hurt we were. I thanked them, told them it was lovely, and wished them a great honeymoon. But inside, I'm a mix of hurt and embarrassed. I love them, and I know they're young, but I can't shake the feeling that the whole thing was unfair to us. Maybe I should have posted this in a venting group instead of a wedding discussion, but I just needed to share.